Delta, which is like, maybe I should show you the second slide so you can see some pictures. There you go. Let's see, yeah. Like Delta, Panasonic, AT&T, different companies that they are working on a new project. And so this is the thing that I really enjoy doing a lot. And I got the opportunity to work with youth to help them develop their ideas into innovation and things like that, and then present it to these companies. In this slide that I want to show you, just like collected some pictures because I wanted to show you something when I started when I was in Syria, which is like the first picture, when I had my own business back there. And then the last one, what I do right now, which is like I work for Apple as a creative, which is me, like I teach people like how they can create new things using our devices. And everything that happened in between, which is why I'm like today talking to you about soft skills for hard times. So the journey wasn't just like smooth or so much easy as I always like just like expect it to be, but also it was amazing in terms of it's interesting that made it like really different and more fun. So I had to go through different things. Some of them were really hard times when my best hard time, if I can like title it this way. I remember walking in streets here in Boston, and then just like talking, like, I mean, just crying. I was like so nervous about like the whole things, like how we can, my family in Syria. I'm here. I want to create my own startup. I want to help communities, like my leadership skills, like my personal life, all this stuff. And then I was just like crying, and then homeless was on his side. And Boston is like a cold city, like it's snow and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It was snowing and it was cold, and he goes like, "Oh, why are you crying? Life is good. Just smile." And I started just smiling because I feel like sometimes we just go a lot into our word that we forgot, and then just like a random guy in the street that he maybe needs more help than what I need, he was just telling me to chill and relax. And so what I want to tell you right now, I know it's a hard time for everyone, and everyone in a different way got impacted. But I mean, we should trust that somehow things will get better, and we only can do what we can do. So we have to focus more about the things that we can control. And so I'm hoping by the end of this session that we can just like discuss a little bit about life skills. It's not gonna just be me talking about them. I'm gonna hear from you as well, but I'm just gonna share with you the most 4 skills that I think helped me a lot through my journey. How this sounds to all of you? Good?
Yeah. Yes.
Good. All right.
Perfect.
So,
Yeah.
first thing that just like, I'm glad also that we are not too many, so we can play it easily. Kind of just like an icebreaker to get to know each other. We already like know each other names and where we're from, but like if there is anything new that you ladies are working on or trying to learn nowadays, and what makes it interesting?
I can start us off. I'm obviously the first screen that I see on my Zoom call. So obviously I'm Haley. I'm the program coordinator for Tech Girls, focusing on the MENA region. Where I am right now is I'm normally based in the United States, but I've been in the Middle East for a few weeks, few months, which has been really great. Anything new I'm learning or doing nowadays? I think one thing is a more funny note, but I've been trying to exercise a bit more, just because, don't want to get stuck, watching too much Netflix and like not moving or anything. So I've been running up and down the flights of stairs in my building in order to get some exercise, because it's kind of limited mobility and going out. So that's been kind of fun and new, and just kind of realizing that like exercise not only impacts the body, but the mind and the spirit as well, and how it's very holistic. So that's something I've been learning, as well as just, learning more about my personality and how I desperately need structure in my life. So I even have to create it for myself now, of like having a morning routine instead of commuting to work. I'm, making my coffee at a certain time of the day and doing kind of a meditation at a certain time of the day, and just helping maintain that balance. That's kind of what I've been learning a little bit.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing. And I think we all kind of need to take care of ourselves more in terms of like build the routine that we somehow lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna go a second.
I can go. I know you guys probably know me as Emily. I applied for this group at Harvard and I got in. And one of the things that I have to do is I have to learn this new software. It's not really a software, but it's called ArcGIS, and I have to do it for a project. So that's what's up.
Emily, that's amazing.
It is amazing. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Renoir, who wanna go next?
I believe that well, technically our schedule is really messed up, especially that we're high school and seniors. So like we only got 2 classes a day at most at this point because our school kept on like this tight schedule from previous years in order to finish our schedule pretty early. So right now it's more of just trying to read more, meditate more, exercise more. I have my off days, of course, but it's trying to get into the schedule that I'm putting.
It's amazing just to be able to learn how to learn on your own and just like to read.
Yeah.
It's like something new. But I mean, have you done any type of like research on how you can learn on your own? Because like I did a new course on Coursera about like learning online, and I was like, in the beginning I thought that will be silly, but then like they really teach you cool stuff. I was like,
well, yeah, I've used Coursera and edX for some time. So for extra Java lessons, because I wanted to go even deeper than what we learned during the Tech Girls experience. In addition, I've seen some things about our teacher was talking about like solar panels and how they work and photons and such because I'm really interested in physics. So I spent some time in that as well.
Amazing. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Suleika, do you want to go next or?
Sure. I've been mostly like Haley, I've been trying to exercise. I'm a competitive swimmer, so I've been trying to stay in shape. But other than that, we have AP exams. They're like our end of the year exams. So I've been studying for those. And one of the things that I'm obviously a math and science person, but I really like history. So I've been making this like comprehensive US history timeline for the last couple weeks. And it's something fun that I enjoy doing.
This is exciting. Nice. And then...
Hello?
Finally, I found out how I can see all people. In Zoom. Okay. And Justina?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Did I go ahead? So I'm studying, I'm a freshman at university studying computer engineering. And since this whole like quarantine thing, we haven't been like really studying. So I tried to like go deeper on my own. So just learning more the softwares we're using. And also, I started to learn more about the robotics. I have like some small like Arduino and little robotics stuff and try to make a small robot, like kind of small car. Still didn't work, but I'm learning. And yeah, that's all.
Amazing. Well, this is like just a side note for all of you who's working on learning on computer science or the coding or things like that. There are lots of free sources online. I'm gonna speak to the one that I know, like Apple provide lots of resources. If you go to developer.apple.com, you will see lots of free sources for free. Like it just, I mean, They have things for coding, things for app designing. It depends on what you're trying to find, but also a community that you can post questions there and just like, get answers, which is this, I think, more powerful than any other curriculum they can find, just because like you get all people helping you to find an answer. So it's kind of critical.
That's great. I'll be sure to
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be sure to share that link out with everybody in a follow-up email for sure.
Okay.
Great. Who else? I didn't get chance.
So I think I'll go now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm Hadil Diaz. I'm a third year electrical and electronics engineering student.
Mm-hmm.
So they're kind of two majors studied at once, which makes it kind of challenging. These days I've been taking multiple courses on Coursera. One of them is Industrial IoT or Industry 4.0, since I'm really interested in automation and IoT systems, which the security part, since it's the most critical thing an engineer must pay attention to when designing IoT system. In addition to that, I've been taking Power Introduction by Boulder University because I'm going to pursue my grad studies in power engineering, and they will help me with my final year project also, since I'm gonna be working with solar panels and different power converters, so it's kind of an addition to my academic studies. I'm also working on a plan for my upcoming book.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always taken lack of time as an excuse, and now I really don't have any more excuses, so I just got into work. And other than that, I just try to listen to good music, watch Netflix as everybody else, and try to stay in shape.
Nice. Well, good luck, Hadid.
Thank you.
Did we miss anyone? I see Aya.
Yeah, and Hawa also is here.
Yeah.
Right.
Hi.
Oh.
So my name is Hawa Sohani, and
I'm having some hard time hearing you. Well, Hawa, if you want to try again.
I'm studying science and technology here.
I think you're breaking up a little bit. If you want to type in kind of what you're up to and what you're doing in the group chat, that might be good. Sorry about that. I know the technology can be a little bit iffy sometimes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Aya, are you able to hear us and be able to respond?
Yeah.
Great.
I'm Aya. I'm a student at...
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you much better. Aya, do you want to hold on?
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I'm Aya. I'm a student at high school. Now, our studies has been cancelled, so I am at holiday, and I decided to learn a lot about cybersecurity, as I am very interested in it, and I want to make it my career in the future.
Nice.
So I began with a course called Introduction in Cybersecurity, as I have a little information about it.
Well, good luck, Aya.
Thanks.
You said that you are in high school?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, really good for you, like taking responsibility to go ahead and like try things. I was sharing earlier with Hadil that like when I talk to my family members or friends in Syria, and now like also they're at home, but they don't have the access to do like online schooling or homeschooling. So it doesn't seem that everyone is trying to like do something about it. So I was like sharing with Hadil that it's such a great opportunity for the people who really want to do something. And I'll do my best to kind of like share resources that I have with Haley. Hopefully she can email it to you for wherever it's available online that can hopefully help you. Great. And now, how would you introduce yourself or?
Yeah, I think she might be typing it up.
Yes.
Oh, there she is.
Okay.
Yeah, I was typing now. Okay. So I was telling like during the year I was more into podcasts, like listening to podcasts while I'm on my way to school and everything. And during this quarantine, I was like, let's just read, because I had a lot of interest in books I always wanted to read, but I didn't make time for them until this quarantine happened. And also I'm trying to get time where we are all here gathered with my family, and also it's a good time to like cook together and all. And I signed up for some coding classes in Udemy, and like some YouTube videos. I most likely like learn a lot from watching videos and like applying directly. So that has been really helpful for me. Yeah, and also I'm exercising more. So when this quarantine happened, I was like, well, like I always sometimes like when something happened, I just don't exercise. And then when this quarantine happens, I was like, oh, not this anymore, like not this again. And then with the group of my training group, we decided to make the same time, like to keep the same time of the exercises virtually. And so we are keeping the same schedule, but just like with the calls, like video chats, where we watch the same video and then train at the same time. So now it's like more accountable, and like I'm liking it.
Awesome. And I can introduce myself as well. It's Bernie or Bernadette. I might have met some of you already. I'm also a program coordinator like Haley. I normally work with Central Asian girls, but I'm really excited about this call too. And something that I've been learning a little more about is like how to run online virtual exchanges, because, you know, so many things are shifting to the virtual side of things. So just picking up tips and whatnot. So that's sort of the main thing.
That's amazing. So the last thing that I didn't share with you, what I'm trying to learn nowadays, it's about how to go into the plant-based diet. And to me, that was like, oh my God, it's way more than what I thought. But it's really interesting and very like exciting to learn about this. I really love chocolate, so I was thinking that it's not gonna be like affected, but like lots of things that you start to just think about it in a different way. So yeah, just like trying new things every single day and, you know, learn from it. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And like I was trying to find the common things between what all of you said. So it seems like most of you are like trying to focus about their education or looking about how I can get the best out of this, which is amazing. That is just like showing me that we all have this positive attitude about that we want to like just think about the future and not get too much in what's happening right now and that we cannot change, which is really good. I'm going to share with you my favorite quote. And also, I choose that type of icebreaker just because I want it to be more about opening up and just like talk about ourselves and stories. Because I really believe in the power of experiences. I believe like you can read as much as you want about how you live life and like, you know, how things should be done, but like nothing as powerful as sharing a story and learn from each other. So when we like talk about these skills that I'm going to share with you, please open up and share with us like stories or situations or things that you've been through or experienced that can support this point or maybe makes it better or, you know, add to it. I don't know if you can see this easily. Now, this is one of my favorite saying by Steve Jobs. And I chose that one specifically now because we are in a time of truly like crisis. Like it's your life, you have this opportunity, you reconsider everything that you're doing in life. And this is like when I first time read this, I was in the middle of things. I kind of like lost between being here and my family in Syria, and like I cannot see them, how things were gonna happen, you know, lots of details. like financial issues, all this stuff. And then I read this and just like thought about it for a little bit, that like sometimes we kind of like forgot about focusing about one thing, which is us. Because at some point when I was reflecting about my journey here, I found that like maybe I didn't start the startup that I wanted yet. Maybe like I finished my grad school, but like not done yet. But like from everything that I did, the most important things that I learned was a lot about myself, like how I deal with situations, what strengths that I have, what weaknesses that I have, what stuff that I feel like I have a huge opportunity to develop, what stuff that I think is really amazing, some people like it. So to get to that level and be comfortable with yourself, it's really important. And I think this is the one card that you will take with you wherever you go, for an education, for career, for personal life, that you're gonna take it with you. And for some reason, we don't really pay that much attention to it or take it seriously until big things happen. But guess what? We really don't know when big things happen. Like if you ask me this is gonna happen, that the whole world will be staying at home. If you say that like 2 months ago, I'll be like, no way. Even when they said it to us, like at work, that we're gonna be going home, I thought that will be 2 weeks, definitely 2 weeks, and that's it. And even my plan in the beginning was like about how I can entertain myself for 2 weeks, so like adapt to the idea that I'm staying at home. And I know this maybe go a little bit longer. And so like you start just like reflecting again and see how I can change things that I can change, what I can do about it. So what do you think? What's your thoughts?
I believe that's very true, by which it's like the butterfly effect. So one thing can alter everything afterwards. So you have to be somewhat prepared for more than one. So have many expectations and thus prepare for them all in the few, because there are many possibilities. And if you want to get the best outcome of something, usually if we're talking about death is something that pushes people into doing many things and evolving themselves in order to become something that they want. Because this is, as they say, this is the only time you'll have. So it's like, it will lead you to improve yourself. So it's like this changer or agent, as he has stated, because it is the only thing we are afraid of, not accomplishing things before we die and being remembered for them.
Right. Thank you, Renoir.
You're welcome.
Anyone has anything to add?
Yeah. So the my new motto for life, we can call it so, is that we only have really limited time on this planet. So every time you're feeling like being lazy, or every time you're grieving over something that you had no control over, every time you're overthinking about something you cannot control or change, you're actually wasting from that limited amount of time that you have. So whenever I get that thought, I immediately stop wasting it over things that are only consuming for my energy, only consuming for my ability to achieve more and actually get things better. And it has helped me so far deal with many with many meltdowns and disappointments. I mean, every time I'm disappointed for myself, or every time I start burning out, I remember the wasted time and try to make up for what's lost and make the most out of it. Whenever we remember that our time is counted, when we really believe that it is counted, we will do more to make use of it and avoid any situation that can be consuming without any use.
Right. Okay. Anyone else has something to add before I share a quick story? And welcome for the new people who just joined. I see 2 new people, I think.
I just wanted to add that those words were great, and thank you. Right after this meeting, I'll go and just continue learning new language that I started. I was like, no, I don't want to do it. And now I'm like full of energy. Thanks to you all. Thank you.
Welcome. Right.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Anyone else has anything to add, or we're good? Right. All right. So, because now the new is you, so we wanted to talk about soft skills, or what I'd like to call it life skills. When someone told you about soft skills, what's the first definition that comes to your mind? Like what it is? What do we mean about it?
Like skills that have relation with like our personality and how we deal with stuff, like not technical, or like anything that's related with us, with our person.
Right. So it's not tied to any specific profession. It's something that you can do at work, at personal life. You take it with you wherever you go. And then anyone else has anything to add? All right. When I looked for some definitions, that one that it says universal abilities, it really kind of makes me feel yes, because this is the one that you're gonna take it no matter where you go or which country. Everyone looks for the same cues, like they look for the same things that you are strong at. So this is how you have to think about it. But also, when I talk to people about skills in general, I think sometimes it's kind of like it got mixed with habits. So do we know the difference between skills and habit? And I'm just like, I want you to know this stuff because it's gonna help you later on when you want to learn something to know what it is. So it's easier for you when you want to learn it, right? Sorry to interrupt, and then I want to go.
Yeah, I was going to say a habit is something that you do routinely. However, a skill, it is something that characterizes you usually, which is your ability to do a certain thing. For instance, to some people, coding is one of their skills because they quickly attained it and were able to do it, or cooking, or it comes, or art, which we usually say a gift. It's also their skill because they may have the talent, but they put hard work into it. So it's something you attain after you put some hard work, searched on it, and was able to finally come with a conclusion and grasp it.
So you mentioned something really, really good about when you said when you put like hard work or when you focus on it. But like when we talk about, you were just mentioning general skills. So like coding, it's a hard skill.
In general.
Yeah. So let's pay attention for these. But if you want to go back to skills and habits, anyone else has something to add to this?
I would like habits are easy to break. I believe there are routine things that you do. For instance, you daily wake up in the morning at 8 a.m. Like these are the routine things. Doesn't count as a skill. This is just something that you have accustomed yourself to, a certain schedule.
So do you think that you cannot break a soft skill? Do you think that soft skill?
What?
So do you think soft skill, if you own it, then you own it forever?
No, of course you need to keep on working on it, or like give this trigger to remind you of it so you wouldn't lose it. So one of the things, for instance, when we talk about driving a car, so this becomes a skill after having driven cars for a really long time. However, if you stop, let's say, for over 10 years and then you want to drive a car once again, you may forget all of the functions of the car or how the specific car, especially let's talk about like you're going back to it and you're not used to driving it, so you're going to lose that skill.
Okay, right.
So you have to have this restraint to keep on with it.
Right. Anyone has anything else to add to? All right. So I asked this question because I want to bring your attention to this. Usually soft skills are things that we do put lots of work to on this skill. And when we repeat it a lot, it's become a habit. Now, skills are always a positive things. The habit's not necessarily like the habit of smoking, the habit of, wherever like people has different habits. So habits not necessarily something positive or something good all the time. There's good habits, there's bad habits. It depends on what you used to repeat a lot, versus like the skills are usually really good habits, and then we repeat them a lot until they become they're really good things, and we repeat them a lot until they become habit. Now, so our goal is like to excel in these soft skills to the point when they become just a habit that we act without even thinking about them. But what I also want you to know, those skills, even when they are a habit, is like if we know a person who has like a very well healthy habits, that doesn't mean sometimes they don't like maybe overeat, or sometimes they don't work out, or like, you know, so the things is depends on the circumstances, or depends on what you are doing. You may lose it, which is fine. So even also in skills, like if we're going to talk later on about communication skills, or if we're going to talk about like creative thinking skills or wherever, so you may excel at this stuff for career or in education, but then maybe like, oh, I don't know how to apply it for my personal life, because like I can still use it for personal life. It's fine. It's not like a certificate that you on and it's done forever. It's gonna like you're gonna change with the time, depends on the situation. It's gonna level up. Sometimes like certain elements will come in the way, and then you will have to react differently. But the more you try, and the more that you are open about like, okay, let me try again, let me just pay my attention to this again and focus again, you will be faster on them. And then when you say like it's becoming more like a habit that you don't think about it that much. So even like driving, for example, when you learn how to drive, and then if you stop driving for a little bit, you may like the first time you go back to the car, like, oh, I need a little bit like just to remember things, but then you just do it. And you may even like, you know, just like do it that you can play music or check your phone, which is not healthy, but like, you know, like you can even do other things without thinking, because now it's a habit that you're just like doing it. Make sense?
Yeah.
Right, great.
Yes.
Okay. So, and today, the ones that I'm going to talk about, which is, they're not just the whole soft skills, it's just like my personal experience, that those, the one that I use the most, or I always kind of like go back to. And this is why in the beginning of our call, I was saying like this is like a kind of very personal session when I went back to my journals and just like looked into the things. In my, probably like in my first year at college, which was like 10 years ago, one of my coaches mentioned something about having a little book when you can write, you know, like any quotes, saying, notes, you know, experience that you heard from someone that inspire you, and just you can go to it wherever you need something to cheer you up, but something that you know that's gonna make sense to you. Yeah. And that was really, really, really good advice. So like if I can really advise you to do something, would be this: have a notebook, or even like sometimes now I use just my phone, like notes on my phone. Have something when you can go back and write things like, oh, today I'm proud of myself that I did 1, 2, 3, 4. Or today this has happened and I learned from it 1, 2, 3, 4. That person mentioned something, it was really good. This song is just like very uplifting. So just like collect all this information, because it's gonna be your kind of like self-care tool, like or like, you know, box that wherever you need to go read stuff that cheer you up, you're gonna go there. And wherever you want to reflect, you can reflect from there. So the ones that I chose today, they were communication skills, flexibility skills, teamwork skills, and creative thinking skills. And in each one, we will have more things to talk about. So I'm going to start with the communication skills. For that one, I choose listening skills and body language. So what's your thoughts about listening skills? Because like we hear it all the time. Probably agree with me, wherever you go for any leadership seminar or anything like about just like creativity, about like leading, about all this stuff, they say listening. But how do you get it? Like if you want to explain it to someone in your own words.
I would say it's something, for instance, that was taught in my school, by which they make you listen to paragraphs and they tell you to comprehend it, ask some questions, repeat afterwards, what's the goal of this paragraph, what has occurred to the characters. It gives you the sense of knowledge of what the experience or what the sense of information has been put in a certain paragraph. So when we talk about listening skills, it's your ability to hear something and comprehend it. So you're not just hearing it as a background noise and not paying any attention to it. It has to, you have to be very attentive to and careful with every word that is said, because the voice that is given and the certain words that are given, for instance, as we talk about when writing, we talk about mood and tone. So the tone is usually about the words that reflect the writer's feelings. So when we're talking about someone speaking to us, and we need to listen to him because we need to figure out his feelings towards a certain subject, especially when we're talking about leadership, to understand each person's point of view and perspective towards a certain subject.
Right. Great point. Anyone has anything else to do? I mean, to add? Not to do. Stay here. Nothing? Okay, so I'm gonna share my point. So something that I also learned, it's just very natural to most of us. When we hear something that in our minds, we start opening files that either we want to make sense of what we are hearing, kind of link it to something that we already know, or sometimes just we want to answer, reply back. It's hard to have that just just chill and hear, really hear, feel it. So sometimes I tell people hear, because you have to hear it in your heart. So this is why you have to look for everything in that person who's talking, not about that you have to say something back. And it's really hard, and you need to practice it a lot. And this is why they keep talking about listening, but it doesn't just happen. So I've been doing something that's helping me. I try to focus about the person that's talking. I try to look on their body language in general, just to understand they are right now kind of sad and just on to themselves, stressed, whatever they're doing. But also I try to wherever there is another thoughts in my mind, I try to be aware about it and just stop it right away and just go back to wherever they're talking. And if I can give you tips that will help you in your listening skills, will be try to just repeat what the person is saying, reaffirm what they're saying. So if they're saying something, try to reset it on your own words. So so are you saying, and then say what you understand, because I'm sure you are hearing words, but I'm not necessarily 100% sure that you understand what he meant. So kind of slow down in this and just make sure that you repeat the information to be with the same person on the same page, as they say. And always when you are trying to listen from truly just the perspective of that you just want to listen to what you are saying. I don't want to right now prove my point or have something back to say to you. And also try to, as you said earlier, understand what they're trying to tell you when they're talking. So I don't know if you have this conversation with your friends or family members or someone when they say oh, you're not calling that much. Anyone has this or heard this before? So before I used to be what? I go to my phone and just show them how many times I called or whatever, all these things. Now reading more about people behaviors and all this stuff. Well, this seems like a message that they're saying you just wanted a little bit more attention. Maybe I'm feeling not really well, that I need someone to check on me a little bit more. So you can also reframe that you are connecting with them, but in a different way. Hey, wherever you want to call me, I'm here. Yeah, sometimes I get busy. You can just say it in a different way and then show them that you are still here for them. So anyone has something to add for this, in terms of do you have any tips or stories that you went through kind of teach you something about listening? No? All right.
Yeah, this is Bernie. I just wanted to say that I love this actually. And I think it is important to kind of look for the meaning behind the words of what the person is saying, because sometimes they're just saying words, but they're trying to get across an emotion or somehow it's affecting them. And I love that you said, maybe just the intent, when you walk into a conversation, walking into it with the intent to understand as opposed to judge, not necessarily judge from a negative perspective, but also judge to fix something. instead just kind of let it be and just be curious. So I really like that. Thanks.
Oh, thank you. All right, so this is again really, really important nowadays, like in crisis time, and most of us are communicating through emails, text messages, and just like, you know, not really seeing the other person. So when you read an email or text message, just like try to read it again with the other person in mind, and just like, you know, have a compassion for these words when you're reading them, or just like try to really understand other people and what they're going through. About the body language. So also this is something really, really important in communication, which is like, it comes back to like how you present yourself. So imagine now that what I do right now at Apple, that I have to teach classes at the store, which is like, I don't know my students until I see them. And then I may have like you know, children and elderly people at the same session. And we are talking about technology with two different generations. The ones who feels it's really easy and we grew up with it. The other people who like, what this? It all sounds great to me. And then you have like to break it down. So I found like if you have that body language, that's, if you really know how to maintain it, it's just easier to tell anything that you want to tell. Versus if you have that one when it's like kind of a QR tone. So imagine just going, meeting people, and you're not standing straight, just like doing like this and like, hey, is it the same level? Like, hi. Completely different, right? So those like little things, even like how you breathe. When you want to like, just like, you know, when you feel stressed out, what do you do? How, you know, take deep breath, all this stuff. This is all goes back to the body language and how like you use your hands, gestures, everything. So pay attention for this stuff. They are universal in terms of like people get them, but they are different in terms of like, you know, in Italy, for example, we use hand gestures a lot. Certain things has different meanings. So when I moved to the US, the first job that I was able to get was to be a server in a restaurant. So I went and asked my customers, how's the food? And they did this. So for the Arab people here, what this mean in our culture? Right? I was like, it's something like very simple. I would at least say for Syrian and Lebanese, like, you know. So I was like, what the hell? Like, everything perfect. Like, why are they doing this? And then like, they, yes, this is good. This is perfect. So it's just like you have to, you know, be aware about those, like how people like to be greeted, like, you know, these little things, but the general about your personal language in terms of like how you stand, how you present yourself, the smile, it's very, very important. Like now we are, like when we have training with our company, they tell us, so even when you are wearing the mask, smile, because the eyes will change. They're gonna get smaller, you're gonna see more lines in here. So it's important that people will see it, even if you think that they're not seeing anything because you're wearing masks. So those little cues are really helpful. And I feel like this is like something I, you know, pay attention to when I'm working with new people. Like I'm like, oh, hold on, like the way how you stand, the way how you present yourself, how you talk. Even for the people who work over phone, you can tell when someone pick up the phone and answer you to give you any type of support, when they are like happy, relaxed, and you can tell when they are like they just want to get their job done, right? Right.
Yes.
Good. So do you have something to add about that? Do you have any like personal experience that you learned from it related to this, to communication skills in general?
I think just a quick note that I would add is that your body language really is a huge determining factor of what kind of conversation you can even have. Like you were saying, like if someone is very closed off and their body language is communicating that you are unwelcome or that they're uncomfortable, that itself, without even consciously realizing it, can determine what kind of conversation and meaningful impact that you can present or that they'll be willing to receive. So as much as you can to own your own part of having kind of a welcoming body language, having an open posture, and having like a, you know, genuinely kind face can really go a long way in terms of being able to build a connection with someone that you really need to.
Right. Cool. Anyone has something to add to the communication skills from your?
Yeah. Well, especially for the body language, I had an experience that I didn't really take into account until other people actually made comments about.
Okay.
I had a book signing session at the International Book Fair, and the publishing house actually has 2 authors per day to do their signing sessions. So I was next to another one. While I was sitting there, a lot of people came and talked to me, even if they didn't buy the book or couldn't even understand English. They just came and talked to me and asked me about what I write or what I do for a living, or just wanted to have a conversation, while the other one barely had people who even looked at his side. I didn't really pay much attention to it at first, until at the end of the day, when the publisher came to talk to me and said that, hey, you were great today. I mean, even he was even astonished when old people came in, and he was like, they don't even understand English. Why would they come to you? And then he said, I don't know. I just smiled at them, and they just thought that it would be nice to come and have a little conversation. And after that day, I got to know a lot of people just because of the body language expression. I was unintentionally welcoming, smiling at children, even people who were passing by, just exchange some light smiles, and it actually made a little impact on them. Whereas the other person didn't have anyone, because he wasn't even making eye contacts to people. So he was actually just closing up on himself, and he just pushed people away without even noticing it.
Right.
So body language can do miracles. I mean, just a smile can change a lot of things about how someone's day can go, or how someone's book session might go.
It's just gonna reflect your energy. And
Exactly,
people
yes.
really like high energy. So if you have to use it to allow you to really express this energy. And I find it very helpful if you want to practice by camera, or on the mirror, or if you want to film yourself, if you have presentation or something like that, or ask friends that you trust. It's really helpful, because sometimes we don't notice. And especially if we are trying something new and we are stressed about it, or kind of nervous a little bit, instead of being excited, those little things just takes time to practice, but you're gonna see it on your body language in a different ways. All right. Do you have anything else to add to this, or should I just move on?
Right. I can move on.
Yeah. So this is also, it has a lot, but I focused on positive thinking and flexibility skills. And I meant with this, the internal dialogue that usually we have in our minds. So it's what we say to ourselves, how we talk to ourselves. And the big lesson that I learned from that one, if we feel really happy when friends come to us, or stranger, or students, it depends what you are working on, your teacher, and say something good to you, that you did this things and you did it very well. So how would it feel if you say it to yourself? Why are we gonna wait for the other people to say this stuff to us? How we, talk to ourselves about what we did, how we reflect about what we did. So this is very, very important. And I didn't do a really good job at it in the beginning, especially when I moved to the US. In my mind, I was within a year. So I grew up in Syria speaking Arabic and French. And then I moved here. I was it's gonna take me a year to learn English. And then, a year to learn English and get accepted in grad school in English. So such a high expectation. And then when you don't make them, I started just judging myself very hard. Oh my God, I could have got job as I thought I will. I just got job to work in a restaurant, things like that as a start. And so I wasn't that gentle or kind to myself as I would be to any other friends. And I was just looking about the stuff that's not really working good, and just trying to make it better, but it wasn't helping, because I was starting from the point of being judgmental and just being hard on myself. So to me, I would say this is the very, very, very important one, that anyone need to learn how they talk to themselves, what ideas are repeating on their minds, because it's going to become affirmations, and those affirmations is going to become the way how you're subconscious mind work, and then this is how you're gonna act, and this is your life. And this is something we can program and we can change. So it's really important to learn how to do it, especially in times when things are not really known, or kind of like you don't have control over everything as you think that you usually have. So because like we don't have control either way, but like right now it feels like more. So it feels like, oh my God, like we are losing it. So how to have that control and how to learn how to speak to yourself and have this like positive thinking about just looking about anything, from growth mindset versus like just like, you know, fixed mindset. Like, oh, this is how it is and I cannot do anything for it. Or, okay, this is how it is. It didn't work the way how I wanted to, but it was a good experience. I learned this, and then I can change that in future. And this was the best thing that I can do at that time. Good?
Yes.
So do you have a
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt someone.
Did someone have a question or?
I don't.
Okay, I think you can keep going, Rilla.
Okay, cool. Do you anyone of you had like any personal experience wanted to share about this? When they felt like they were harsh on themselves and then they kind of got it and changed it?
Yeah, it's great.
I probably usually do it when I write something, is that especially when I'm looking at old things that I've written as short stories or such, I'm like, when I look at what I write right now and what I have in a year ago, it just seems like, oh wow, I really didn't do well, and that was what caused me to stop for a while. But when I viewed what change or outcome it had on me, when I started writing again, I was like relieved that I should have kept that growth mindset and not stopped from the beginning, because it helped me a lot, evolve my writing skills amazingly.
Yeah. So it's really just about taking a time to reflect. That will change the whole thing. Just like give yourself a bit of time, go back, reflect to it, and really hear where you can find the when friends or
inspiration,
close people also can play a real role, because they can just give you that support. And I talked before to people who told me that they don't have a close friends or close family members that they can trust to share this information. So my feedback to them was, nowadays with technology, you have access to go find these communities online. So you can go find online on YouTube or on Facebook when they share same values like yours, and so you can have, or you can find that friends that you are looking for. Also in this category, I want to talk about how we deal with things that we don't know how it's gonna go, like uncertainty, or like how we learn to trust the process and not necessarily knowing everything and how things gonna go from A to Z. Still, like take the step, right? So like I was talking earlier to Hadil, and she was telling me that she started her startup, and now with all what's going on, kind of like it's a scary time. But like, so Hadil, like, what do you plan to do now for that?
Well, for now it's not really a startup. So for now we just wanted to. It's still just an initiative that aims to promote spoken word poetry. I mean, what we wanted to do is kind of create a platform like Baran Poetry, but in Algeria, especially for English poets and slammers. We are aiming to make it a profitable maybe in the upcoming years, but for now the main focus is on getting more people to speak out and more people to share their poetry with larger audiences and promote the English poetry culture in the society.
Yeah. So do you think that you know how the things will go from A to Z right now, or you are more about like, let me take this step and then we will see?
Well, for now, we are working on the communication plan. For now, we are just working online, sharing people's artworks and poetry online. We have scheduled a lot of events for this month, but we'll just postpone them until things are clear. Nothing is cleared out yet, so we don't know when the quarantine will end. We don't know when we are going back to studies, when will people get their normal lives again.
Yeah.
We used to stress about it a little bit, I mean, especially the last few weeks. But now it's just out of our control, so stressing about it won't be okay. We'll just leave it until things are cleared out.
Right. So it's just like what I meant to say here. It's trust the process and do what you can do. Focus on the things that you can control, and just like take the first step and go. So personal experience again, when I moved to the US, I was in Atlanta, Georgia. Like, it's a nice city. I got my grad school there, but I couldn't see myself growing up there. I wanted something that feels more like this is a city that I'm gonna, it's at least like it's similar to the lifestyle that I like. And so at that time, my options was like to move to Boston or California, and both of them are very expensive cities. Like as a student, you just finished school here in the US, and like you are on your own, not getting the student loan or things like that. So everything that you have to think about it twice before you go to the next next chapter in your journey. So at that time, I made a decision that it feels coming to Boston, and it's not just like it feels, but also like I did the research, I did all the stuff that I can do. It's a good decision in terms of like I want to continue in innovation, I want to continue in startups, that I want to hopefully continue my PhD after and all this stuff. So it has like amazing schools. I like the lifestyle and it's like walkable city or the things, but also I didn't get a job yet in Boston. And then all what I'm like talking about is just things that you read on Google, which is like, it's different than when you read stuff versus when you go to, actually experience it. And then I only have like at that time is $1,300 in my pocket. That's it. And Boston is an expensive city for those who knows. So I was like, I'm not sure what to do. And Haley probably remembered that time in my life when I was like completely lost. And then finally I was like, okay, after meditations and lots of things and lots of reflection and asking people, like I'm gonna take this step and see, so like with the money that I have, I can do 1 month. I can like rent a room for 1 month and then just like go to the city, meet people like on events, on stuff like that, go to job fairs and things like that, just like talk to people and see what's gonna happen. And this is exactly what I did. And then in the third day after I moved to Boston, I got my job at Apple. So what I'm trying to say, it's like, and truly at that time, it wasn't even Apple in my list. Like I was like, oh no, this is like a little bit too higher for now. Like let's keep it after I gain a little bit some experience. So what I'm trying to say here, it's like, trust yourself. Trust that there is someone, is like wherever your beliefs are, like is it the universe, God, it depends on everyone. But like trust that God is here for you and you do what you can do, and then you will see everything is just helping you to go. But just like don't focus about the stuff that you cannot change. Focus about the stuff that you can do something about it. And so this is something similar when it's come to starting new initiatives or going on your school or like, doing different things at that time. Good? Right. Do you have something to add to, or just like continue? Right.
You can continue.
Right. All right. Which is also one that I really like, because it's not just, as people think, it's not just about work or school when you are like talking about your teammates. It's also about family. Like if you own this skill, you can make your life way easier wherever you go. And I wanted to highlight 3 points. The first one, to have empathy and really care for other people. And that will allow you, like, when you have empathy, that means that you are able to see yourself in other people's situations. So you really feel what they are doing. And so now when I teach about app designing the school, at the store, I keep telling people that this is the most important one, because like you have to imagine yourself as a user using this applications, and this is hard because like it's usually we cannot feel the things if we are not there. So also it takes time, but again, it's coming from love. So if you really can love the other people and care enough for them that you want to imagine yourself like, if I am in that person's situation, what can I do? And then from there create. So that will allow you to communicate with them easier and build with them stuff easier. The second one will be the feedback piece. So for a long time, I thought just being open to receive feedback, that's mean you're a good team member. But now after working at Apple, also like I learned something that it's your responsibility also to give a feedback. So it's not just enough to receive it and be open to like hearing feedback from people, but also you have to give it to other people. Like you have to really acknowledge the things that you are good at and have that courage to go and say to the other person, hey, I like that thing that you did, but also I think you have a great opportunity for this and that. So, and share it, because this is how we can grow and make things better. And then finally, like to really inspire and motivate. So lots of us do things, but like not everyone is willing to share it with other people. But if we think about like when we share with other people a book that we read or a course that we took or something like that, that hopefully will inspire them or motivate them to do something, then we will be more open to share. So it's, again, really important. Just think about yourself, about like a book that you read just because someone suggested, or something that you changed after you heard the story from someone or experience. And imagine like if you do that, how many people you might inspire. And especially nowadays, like using social media. So think about it, like now when I feel like stressed out or something, especially about what's happening, and like, oh, like for how long I won't be able to see my family. Like I'm here, they're like I cannot, go see them. It's amazing to have this technology that allow me to video chat them, but it's different, right? When you go and see people in person, and like it's just that we don't know until when. And sometimes I go to YouTube just like to find answers or like read books, or it depends on my mood. This answer sometimes is just like a song that kind of like uplift me a little bit. And I find it really good to go back and share it with these people on social media. Just like, hey, this is like inspired me. Hopefully it's gonna inspire you. Or like I was listening to this teacher and he said 1, 2, 3, 4, and I feel like this is really important. And you'll be surprised that for some people will text you back that was like, oh, thank you for sharing. That was in perfect time. Have you had this experience before when you shared something and people text you back like, thank you for sharing, or you were like surprised? Oh.
I can add something on the taking and giving feedback. I think that's something that's been like a long lesson for me to learn. And it's been really important, I think, in building trust. Because I think when you can be honest and giving positive and or more critical feedback, that's really where, whether it's personal or professional, that's really where a relationship develops and progress can be made. And so I think that takes a lot of humility. As well as, again, it kind of all intertwines with like the communication and listening skills to be able to receive it, as well as maybe even like observation, listening skills to even see like, what do I need to offer to this other person? So that's been really important for me work-wise in order to like get a project done, and then also just personally in order to develop healthy relationships.
Right. Thank you, Haley. All right. So the final one was final category was creative thinking. And usually you know this by problem solving skills. But I want to say creative thinking instead, because I feel it kind of like allow you to think a little bit different about, it's not just like a problem. Like, it could be something really good that's happening and you want to highlight it more. It just like allow you to think a little bit different. And in this category, I wanted to highlight the point of really have this courage to go try stuff. At Stanford, there is like a course called Design Your Life, and it's an amazing book and a course. If you have access to, I really highly recommend to go check it out. They say this like word to word: fail fast and fail forward. And I take that one and kind of like I go with it. Like you want really know things before you try them, and you have to be okay with the idea that it may not work. And so it's better to not work fast and go try something different versus like just like, oh my God, keep thinking about it and then assuming the answers and you don't know. So this is like definitely very important. And then the second thing, it's focused attention, which is where you pay your attention to, like your energy will flow. So if you pay your attention to finding solutions, you get more solutions. If you pay your attention to limitations and then things won't work because of 1, 2, 3, 4, then you will have more things not gonna work because of 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you have this like, skill of being able to focus about the stuff that you want to achieve, you will go there, you'll find it. And in surprising ways. As an example for this is like when we started our startup company when we were in Syria. So it was a market research company. So you have to write reports based on data. So at that time it was like really important to have those people who try to focus about opportunities and about like new markets and things like that, because they're gonna allow you to open new businesses versus the people who read the data in a like a negative way, if you want to. They won't allow us to go anywhere. So as an example that we usually used to give to people, if you go to island, and this island people, they don't wear shoes, and you are like a, you know, person who designs shoes. So what would you do? So for some people, they will go like, oh, that's mean there's no opportunity for this business because people in this island, they don't wear shoes. Other people would say, it seems we have a great opportunity. People still don't know what shoes. So we can even, you know, show them shoes, teach them how they can wear it, and like, you know, highlight the benefits of wearing shoes versus just like walking without them. So it's like how you decide to put your focus about like proceeding and finding more opportunities and solutions versus like just like focusing about the stuff that are not working, right? And this is the last one that I really like keep reminding myself with it, like don't assume, ask. And this is for business, this is for startups, this is when you are designing applications or like developing any new idea. Lots of us, we go like, oh, I think this is how people like it, or oh, I think this is what he meant, or she didn't pick up the phone because I think she's like wherever, like busy, not doing stuff. Don't assume, ask, because the other person maybe was sick, or maybe you think people, they like it this way, but they don't. So always better to go and ask. And honestly, very little people who go and ask questions, because lots of other people, they think they got it all and they know what's going on, and that's it. So it makes a huge difference. Anyone has anything else to add to this? It's kind of like the last category.
I would add on the first point, which is trial, fail fast, and fail forward. Yeah. From the beginning of our Tech Girls community project, I was like, okay, so I came back from the USA. I had this expectation of everything will go so well because everything there seemed so easy about everything, how everything goes on, especially with the Tech Girls that were from the US. And so when I came here and I wanted to apply it, it was very difficult. So at first, I was like, I'll apply at my school. So I went to talk to the administration, and they said like there are some certain things that can't be exactly talked about in our communities because they're still count as taboos, which was specifically talking about how to focus bad energies, which actually exist, but we don't really often talk about in our Arab societies, like drug abuse and premarital sex and smoking, how to reflect these into positive energies. So they said like these are still taboos, like we like your idea, but to some people they won't accept it and they'll just go into legal forms against the school. So then I was like, let's go talk with the municipality because it has its role for the community that I'm in. And then it was as well very difficult, by which they wanted exact data. They didn't even allow me to pitch in my idea. So finally, I started talking to my own teachers And my teacher was like, I'm going to help you as much as I can to rent you a room with very low prices and find a way to put everything up for you, until I finally came across the idea, why don't I just Zoom call it, invite the people I want to invite, because Zoom call was being used by Legacy International. And so I was talking to my teacher a couple of weeks ago, and we're going to do it in a month or so, because it's so much easier. And in that way, like, no one has this trouble of the timing, no one has this trouble of going from a place to another. And no matter where the place is, if someone has this Wi-Fi connection or mobile data, he's completely fine and secure to see the whole project.
Right. See, this is amazing. It's just like, go take the steps instead of trying to figure it out. And it's fine if it didn't work, because like when the first person told you, no, you cannot do it, they said something. So now you know when you go present it to someone else, what the words that you have to play around it. Like similar, like my own startup when we were in Syria, like you're not allowed to do any type of market research. Just like not allowed. It's something you should not do it. So instead of title it this way, we title it with like business plan. But if you actually ask me what you are doing, we are doing research. We're going asking people, giving them questionnaires and things like that.
Yes.
So we wouldn't know if we went out and tried. The difference though is like some people, when they hear the first no, they just stop and, oh yeah, we cannot do it. The others will be like, okay, why? And then tell me more. And then they try to seek more answers and just like try to find different ways to improve the whole situation. Good. All right.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing, Yanwa. Do you have anything to add for overall, like as I don't know, something that you learned today, or maybe inspire you to change something or to add something, or?
It probably just reinforced my ideas and my motivation.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yes, I actually want to share a personal story that has just happened to me.
Yeah, go ahead.
And so when I first graduated from high school, I wanted to apply for like a scholarship to study abroad, and it was like all of my energy I put in this scholarship, and it was taken off like from throughout all of my years in high school. And then when I applied the first time, like I got so I passed through all of the like stages, like the interview, the test passing and everything. And then at the last stage, I didn't get accepted. So I was really disappointed, and in relation to what you said and like trusting the process and everything, like it wasn't easy at first to believe that. And so even if I applied like the next year, like the next year after that year, and also I still got rejected, and like I applied the third year, which is this first year, and also got rejected. And like from like my like once I got that response, like I was really like very very sad, like personally. But even though I know in like personally, I knew that it's not something that it should keep me like that. It should just be like a motivation for me to look for something else. But just wanted to say that it's sometimes hard, like it's sometimes hard to convince your mind to think so in like the good shape, and like to convince yourself that to think positively about the situation that happened. So now I took time, as you said, and I reflected on it. And yes, again, like time heals a lot of things, and time lets you like reflect on things that just happened. So I took time, and like I asked coordinators of what things I should improve on more for like the scholarship, in order like to progress in my life and like apply for other programs, hopefully. So yeah, I just wanted to share this.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And I truly feel you when you said like about sometimes feeling that you're stuck and it's really hard to motivate yourself again. And I mentioned that I got my grad school here in the US, but I had to apply also like about 3 times before I got accepted to this program. And I can't tell you, like every time that I applied and then I heard back that I'm not accepted, how hard it was. too mmany levels. Like one of them financially, that like every time, like for every day I'm staying in the US, I'm spending money. Like, you know, I'm not still making money, and it's really hard to compare having money from Sierra to spend it here. It just doesn't make sense. And then the other thing is like, why not? Like, okay, first time my English, I have to improve it. Second time, they weren't clear about the communication. Like every time there's something, and it's hard to accept it at that time. But like as you said, the time makes sense. And another thing that, like another saying that I like to is like for Steve Jobs, but I really like it. It says like, you only can explain things when you look backward for it. Like you cannot explain it when you're on the same time. So meaning like after 3 years, I got accepted on the grad school. And then first thought was like, I got accepted when I kind of think I was more ready to take this journey. But I was thinking like, oh my God, if I got accepted first time, I wouldn't be able to do it. For example, when I applied first time, it was just like probably 8 months for me in the US, which is me, like I don't have still like a credit score or anything like that to support me financially. But when I got accepted in the school, I already built that history in terms of like credit scores and all this stuff. So for the first semester to get in the school, I had money to pay for it. And then I proved myself in the school, so they give me the assistantship. So just like this, I was like, oh, thank you, God, because you helped me. Like if it was in the beginning and they accept me, I don't have money to pay them. It's like, you know, it's not gonna take me anywhere. So like, and lots of other things that come with it. So just I think it's hard to understand it at the same time. You just like need time to understand it, but also I found it helpful when things doesn't work as you want it at that time, and you think that you cannot just like accept it. Try to leave it and focus on something else that brings you joy or can help you to relax a little bit. Because as you said, time heals everything. Just like it's going to take a little bit of time to understand what's going on.
That's right. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Anything else?
Oh, this is Bernie. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can.
Oh, cool. I just wanted to share one or two very small things that kind of helped me. And one thing that, you know, sometimes I felt like when I did something incorrectly or I messed up on something, I would feel like shame about it. And someone told me like shame can be seen as sort of like an acronym. They're like you can see it as SHAME, shame, should have already mastered everything. So she's like, you don't need to master everything. You don't need shame. It's okay. You don't need to. So I thought that was a really useful thing. And then the other thing that I thought was kind of helpful was like, at one point, 2 years ago, I was finishing my doctorate and like I was writing a 200-page dissertation, and I was really nervous about it. Like I was like, what if it's not right? What if it's not good? And I have to do this whole thing today. And then kind of like what you're talking about, just like taking this, just asking like, no, I don't need to finish a dissertation today. I need to just take the next right step. What is the next right step? And in my case, it was just open the computer, turn on the computer and type one page, right? And what's weird about the next right step is that it changed my mindset. I was thinking about it because things that I thought were not possible then became possible because of that very tiny action. So I think this is really helpful. Thanks a lot. This is like one of those very tiny actions that's like all of your stories are really inspiring to me.
Right. Thank you so for sharing too.
Thanks.
Right.
Yeah, just a quick note for everyone too. So I've been recording this call, so I'll be able to share it out to the entire Tech Girls Alumni Network, and you guys can look back for it as well. I'll also be sure to share out Rula's different resources she talked about, like the developer.apple.com resources, as well as some of the courses. Also the PowerPoint, and maybe Rula, if you're okay, I can share your email address with those that attended in case they want to follow up with you about anything. Yeah, this has been so great, and like personally very good reminders for me as well, as like I think this current climate we're in is a lot of waves, so where we have to remind ourselves of these good things in order to kind of keep doing our good work.
Right. Well, thank you so much for like, you know, staying with me for this hour and allow me to share my story. The final thing that kind of created. I'm trying to find it on this computer. Kind of to inspire you and stay connected. Probably like I'm gonna send it to Haley if she want to share it with you. Can you still see my screen? Yeah.
Yep.
So so like I created this. Hopefully we can share it on our stories to invite other people to join. This is my personal quotes that kind of like inspire me, but I created one that it's empty. You guys can add yours, and then we can just like share it all together, just like tag us or tag Legacy. And the whole point is just like to inspire each other and just like get motivated. So this is the one that I'm gonna send it to you.
So yeah, I don't think we can see that. I can share my screen really quick if they want to see what they look like.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. So maybe I have to stop sharing then.
Yeah, no worries. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so this is Rula's one that's complete. So it's like an Instagram story thing. So you put in your different quotes and you have different hashtags that go with them. So of course Rula's on it and has already tagged people that have it. So you can see here, this is her name. So that one has it already complete. So I'll send this out in the email to you guys. So you can just download it from your phone and maybe post it on your Instagram story. So you can tag her and stay connected. And then the other one, this is the blank one that I'll send out. So you can kind of fill out your own.
The names that I was posting, also those are people that I recommend to go look to their works. I was sharing with Hediel earlier about Marie Forleo. She's an entrepreneur, but also she has lots of good digital content on like on YouTube or even on podcast. If you want to learn about like managing your business, specifically nowadays. Stephen Covey, like I learned from his book a lot. So like, those are the people that they kind of like I really read a lot to them. Joe Dispenza as well. So share the love if you have things that you want us to know about, or like people you think they have really good content, or you learn something from them.
I love it. Also share it on the Facebook alumni group too. That'll also be an easy way to kind of download it. Yeah, thank you so much, Rula. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing all this amazing content with us. It's been awesome.
Thank you for all being here.
Thank you so much. That was really helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Enjoy your weekend, everyone.
Bye.
Enjoy. Goodbye.
Stay healthy.
Bye.
Bye.